Hello, I'm James Ingram for Track.com. Welcome to video number 258 titled Wow Toys Almost S-Gauge Trains. You might ask why this video. There's a lot of other videos describing these Wow Toys trains out there on YouTube, but none of them, to my knowledge, take a detailed look at how this stuff works on S-Gauge track or how close it is to S-Gauge, and that's what we've tried to do in this video, take a semi-serious look about how similar this is to S-Gauge. Basically, we'll do a summary of this video right here now. These Wow Toys trains, they're an inexpensive, lightweight construction, plastic battery-powered trains that run on plastic track. This is their track back here. This is S-Helper service, S-Gauge track in the front with the gray roadbed. The rolling stock is slightly smaller than actual S-Gauge size, but the track gauge seen here is slightly wider than actual S-Gauge size track. The cars, that is to say the unpowered rolling stock like these will run on American Flyer track. They'll run better, or they seem to run better on S-Helper track, which is where they're sitting here as you see them. The locomotives, however, don't really want to seem to run on either S-Helper track or Flyer track, probably because of the wider gauge and they go fairly fast. They only have one speed, which is fairly quick, but they do run fine on their own slightly wider gauge plastic track. You can find these Wow Toys trains available on like Amazon.com or eBay.com, and also you see them in a lot of museum gift shops, which is where I purchased these two sets. You can find videos showing them on YouTube, and if you search for Wow Toys or wowtoys.com trains, you should find a lot of results for that. And I believe they're actually made by a company in China called Fenfa, F-E-N-F-A, and you can search those same sources for Fenfa also, and you'll see similar looking trains. There's several videos linked down below in the text description here that show more of these trains in operation. If you actually should, for some reason, purchase one of these, do be careful. There are several sizes, at least three. There's a size that Wow Toys markets that looks very close to large scale, and there's another size that looks like it's somewhere between HO scale and N gauge. Now, the big question you might ask here, why would these trains be of interest to serious S-Gaugers? A lot of S-Gaugers get fairly offended if the rivets aren't in the right place, let alone if the track gauge is different or the scale is different. Well, I can think of two possible reasons why we would be interested in these trains. One would be for kit bashing, for those with enough talent to do that kind of stuff. That's not me, but I know a lot of people do it. The second reason is if you want to give a child an inexpensive gift and you want to give them a train that's sort of in the same scale as S-Gauge, this would be a train to consider. For example, a mother could give this to her young son and say, look, here's a train to play with. It's very similar in size to what your great-great-grandfather's running downstairs in the basement on his American Flyer track. We'll run this train by and take a closer look at these cars. Again, that's an S-Helper service diesel on S-Helper service track. First thing to notice is the coupler, the S-Helper service knuckle coupler won't readily mate to the Wow's toy car, which is a basic hook and loop, so I took a piece of wire and bent it to make a makeshift coupler. That wire fabrication probably represents the height of my modeling skill, by the way. Those are two identical passenger coaches. There's the one freight car. second freight car. Then the tender from the steam engine. And again, you can see the basically a hook and loop coupler, or maybe a peg and a hole type coupler that the Wow Toyz uses. What we've got here now is the Wow Toyz cars pulled by an S-Helper service diesel locomotive. So the track is S-Helper service, the locomotive is S-Helper service, the 4 cars, there's 2 passenger coaches and 2 freight cars, plus the tender from the steam locomotive, are being pulled by the diesel. This is just to demonstrate that these Wow Toyz cars will run on S-Helper service S-gauge track, even though they're wider gauge. We can't use the locomotives. They don't seem to work on S-Helper track because, again, of the wider gauge, plus they run awfully fast. But the cars do seem to work. I won't say they work well, but they work. We'll start this train up now. We'll take it up to speed step 28, which is top speed. So that locomotive is running at speed step 8, which is top speed. Now we'll throw the turnouts to straight. Now the turnouts are thrown to straight, so that train should go on the outer siding. We'll do one more run through the turnout set to straight, and we'll set them back to curved. The S-Helper service track layout and the DCC stuff here were used in an earlier video, AutoControls.org video number 813. But this layout, we're also using this layout just to demonstrate these Wow Toyz cars. We've got the Wow Toyz train running on Bill's American Flyer layout on American Flyer track, pulled by an S-Helper engine. You can see the cars do navigate the Flyer track, but very roughly. I think it's partly the light weight and partly the wider gauge of the wheels. The Wow Toyz track is gauged just a little bit wider than standard S gauge. You watch that tender as it goes around the corner. You can see it just kind of riding up on the rails and wobbling. Go ahead. I'm ready. Just give me up. I'm ready. Here's the steam train operating on its own plastic track. The passenger car and the 2 freight cars are from the steam set. The second passenger car is from the diesel set. So this runs pretty well on its own track, which here's the diesel engine running on that same figure-8 track circle. I've got the single car from the diesel set, plus the cars from the steam engine set, including the steam engine's tender, hooked onto the rear of this train. There's an American Flyer car being pushed by the Toyz engine on the Toyz plastic track. You can see it goes on the track, but it bounces on the crossover, presumably because of the narrower gauge of the American Flyer versus the Toyz track. I tried 2 Flyer cars on here a minute ago and had those going, but the front one derailed, so this isn't a real stable arrangement with that front car, with that car bouncing over the crossover like it does. Here we are with the steam train running on the plastic track. This time we've got it configured with a loop with the 2 turnouts in it. Now we just changed to the inside loop. Now we're back in operation on the outside loop. Now we've got the diesel engine pulling the cars on that same oval loop with the 2 turnouts. Now we've switched that train to the inside loop. And switch back to the outside loop for that train. Here we are pushing an American Flyer car around the track. Again, it goes pretty well on the straight and curve track, but a little rough on the switches. See, we're prone to possible derailments on the turnouts. If you read the reviews for these trains on Amazon.com, people sometimes complain about them being difficult to get started, and they are a little tricky because they take off full speed. And one way I found to do it is to put my finger in front of it and start the locomotive and let it spin, because it will spin okay, and then take my finger away to, get the train started. If we try to hold these cars up together, on my left is an American Flyer car, and on my right is one of the Wow Toyz cars. If I try to hold the flanges as close together and line them up as much as I'm capable of, you may or may not be able to see, because I'm shaking more than I'd like to. You may or may not be able to see the flanges are just a bit wider on the Wow Toyz car than the American Flyer car, hence the broader gauge track, the plastic track that's broader gauged than regular S gauge track. Here's two pieces of track, the original American Flyer track on the left and a piece of the Wow Toyz straight track on the right. And if we try to line up the one rail, upper rail's kind of lined up, the bottom rail is just a little bit in. According to Wikipedia.org for S gauge scale is 0.883, which is just about 7/8 of an inch between the rails. And Earl Wagner measured the Wow Toyz track, and it's about 0.960. So there's about a little over a 1/16 of an inch difference between the official S gauge track, which American Flyer and S Helper follow, and what this Wow Toyz track was built to. It's too bad they didn't just make it the same as S gauge, since they were so close, and then the stuff really would be interchangeable track wise, but for whatever reason they didn't. We can show another comparison between this plastic track that comes with the Wow Toyz trains and original American Flyer track. If we take 6 pieces of Flyer track and just kind of drop them on top of this semicircle of Wow Toyz track, you can see they just about match up. Said another way, the radius, the diameter of this circle with this Wow Toyz plastic track is just about the same as the diameter of this original American Flyer track, which I think is approximately 39 or 40 inches to the center line. And in this video, we've been talking about, Wow Toyz track, which is a plastic track that comes with these battery-powered sets, original American Flyer track, and out here are the S Helper S tracks. And most of you probably know this, but if you're not real familiar with S gauge, this is the old stuff from the 50s. This is the new stuff made up through the late 2000s up to approximately 2011 or so. S Helper service is no longer in business, but I believe Mike's Train House is making stuff very similar to this. But this is a new and improved version of this old stuff from the 50s. But these two are essentially compatible. Trains will run on both of these, or either both built to S gauge standards. These are 30-degree sections of plastic curve track. They have these tabs on the end, and there's a corresponding little opening there where the tab slips into. So you kind of got to get these oriented correctly. You kind of wiggle these things together until the tabs lock. Here, I've got that one. It gives you a reasonably secure connection. And to take these apart, you just wiggle them some more, and out they come. So that's how they connect. And then to make that figure 8, they supply you, and this is from the Steam set, they supply you 4 of these curves that are, I believe, 15 degrees, so it can go into the crossover properly. And here's the 90-degree crossover that you saw in the video a second ago. And the Steam set also includes 2 turnouts, plastic turnouts, which we'll try to hook up in the next track section demo. And you push this lever here to change them from straight to curved, or from curved back to straight. Here's the box for the Steam set. You can see it includes the steam engine, which is down in here, the tender, the 2 freight cars, and 1 passenger car. Plus they give you a station, which I didn't use on the demonstration layout, but that's in the box. And there's also back here, there's it looks like it comes with 4 trees. And I've got the track unpacked, but they give you the 2 turnouts, the 90-degree crossing, and a bunch of curved and straight track. Here's the back of the steam engine box. They give you like 5 track plans you can make with the included track with the steam engine. The 2 we showed in this video was we first did the figure 8, and then secondly we did what they call the oblong with the circle. If we flip this over to the front of this box, you can see the price. This was a price, I believe, at the Colorado Railroad Museum for this in July 2015, $36.95 is what this steam train set cost. And I believe they call this S-gauge set, they call it the, you see this box says classic train set on it. I believe that's the name they use for the S-gauge size trains. There are 2 other sizes, one that's closer to large scale and one that's somewhere between HO scale and N scale, I believe. Here's the packaging for the smaller diesel set, and what comes with this, I kind of got stuff back in the bubble wrap, but there's the diesels on top where my thumb is, and then they give you, in this set, they give you a 1 passenger car, and in the bottom of this bubble wrap package, there's 12 pieces of curved track, just enough to make a simple circle. And there's other combinations of cars and engines in different sets, although I believe the 2 engines you saw in this video, the steam engine and the diesel, are the only 2 ones that Wow's Toys markets here in the U.S., and I could be wrong about that. And up here you can see the price tag on this. This, I believe, I purchased at the Forney Transportation Museum in Denver, Colorado in July 2015, and this is $13.99 is the price on this. And this, the passenger coach is what I kind of caught my eye, because that's kind of a interesting, nice-looking car, and you get that for $13.99 plus an engine plus track. We're looking at the box here for the diesel set. One thing I want to point out, notice up in the corner here, this thing reads HO scale battery powered. After seeing this video showing these cars running on S-gauge track, hopefully you might agree with me, this label really ought to say S-gauge almost. Here's a look at a couple different sizes of cars just for comparison. We've got the Wow Toys passenger coach in the center here. This is an HO scale passenger car, and I'm guessing this may be a 70-foot scale length in HO scale. And here's one of the old original American Flyer cars, which I think it was probably done to about a 60-foot scale. I'm just guessing. This is an S Helper Service flat car, and I think these are 50-foot scale length. That's why I'm guessing that these are 60. So you can see the Wow Toys is a little bit lower and a little bit shorter even than the original American Flyer passenger car. There's a view looking at the top just to compare the widths. There's the HO passenger car, the Wow Toys passenger car, and the American Flyer passenger car. You can see this is all, besides being a little bit lower, it's a little bit narrower than an actual S-gauge passenger car. Here's a closer look at one of the passenger cars. Again, not a super heavy-duty construction, but on the other hand, not bad either, but slightly smaller than actual S-scale. And again, you can see the coupler on one end is a simple hole, and the coupler on the other end is basically an arm with a hook that goes into the hole of the other car, and plastic wheels. And these are wider gauge, even though the car is smaller than S-scale. They're wider gauge than S-gauge, but as you've seen, they run on S-Helper track. Here's a closer look at the tender for the steam engine. Here's the container car. And that's a distributor's name, Wow Toys. If you search on the web for Wow Toys or WowToys.com trains, you'll find a bunch of these things on Amazon, eBay, and wherever the Wow Toys own website. And I believe these are actually made by a company in China called Fenfa. You can also find them under Fenfa. And here's the container car. And finally, we'll take a closer look at the station that comes with the set. Now, I've got the back side of it. I believe the front side has the signs are visible to New York. That sign's to New York, and that sign just says Alaska. If we look at the steam engine here, this is the rear. The front three axles just are free rolling, and then the last axle is powered, and it's got traction tires, rubber traction tires on both sides. And if we turn this over, again, we can see the front three sets of wheels are just free rolling, and the valve gear or the side rods are driven by the rear wheel. And there's two AA batteries. You take this screw out here and pull this top off, and there are two AA batteries that go down there, which is power this. And again, the on-off switch is on the side of it here. You get built-in steam sounds and flashing headlight, as you can see. Here's a closer look at the diesel, looking at the bottom of it. This is the front free-rolling wheels up here, the two AA batteries. Now back in the rear, there's one powered axle that doesn't pivot, and you can see how they've designed this truck. So the truck turns, but the powered wheel just slides from side to side. And there's a switch on the side of this to start this locomotive. We're now just about at the end of this video, but before we end, we'll show a couple of several still photos of the Wow Toys rolling stock. What we're looking at right now on the screen here is a Google Picasa online photo album. This album is accessible using the links down below the video. That is to say, the links in the text description. When you get to that web page in the Google Picasa album, you should see a bunch of thumbnails like we're looking at now. If you click on a thumbnail, and as an example, let's use the passenger coach in the center. If you click on a thumbnail, that'll open the picture in a larger view. Then you can use the arrows on the right or the left to go forward or backward. If I click the arrow on the right here, that takes me to the next thumbnail, and so on.